counting down to the Mountain West Conference basketball tournament. Now a little more than a week away. Welcome to Aztecs All In, the podcast that goes all in on San Diego State sports. I'm Louis Weiner. He is Todd Villalobos, two Aztec alums, two huge San Diego State sport fans. And it looks like today, Todd, more Aztec hoops action to talk about, including the weekend win over Wyoming.
That was a close one.
You know what? You could do that for practically any game they play against one of the mediocre teams in the conference, right?
Well, it's on the road, especially with that horrible travel. You'd like to think they could go in there and wipe up a bad Wyoming team in front of about 40 fans, but they're going to twist us and turn us, and you think they got it in the bag, and then they're going to start missing free throws, and all you got to do is hit one. Jared Coleman-Jones, and he misses two, and now they've got a chance to tie. But look, at this point in the season, especially in this conference with the brutal travel and the brutal refs, which we'll talk about later, I have some thoughts on that. Anywhere you go on the road in these horrific spots like Laramie and Colorado Springs, all that stuff, Albuquerque, to come away with a win, that's all you need. A win is a win is a win is a win. I'm not counting style points, so we got to win, and we're still on the good side of the bubble, and I'll take it.
Yeah. After the game, Brian Dutcher was asked, he goes, I've been here coming for 25 years, and he's only got one more. Plus, They took a charter in. I don't know if you know this. They took a charter in, but their charter plane had a mechanical issue, so they had to actually spend an extra night in Laramie, so they didn't get home until the next day. But the Aztecs had an 8-point lead in that game. It was 70-62 with 38 seconds left, and as an Aztec fan, you breathe a sigh of relief. Great, they've got this one in the bag. And before you know it, the Aztecs make 2 of 6 free throws. You mentioned Jared Coleman-Jones missing 2 at the end, which gave Wyoming a last gasp effort. Thankfully, there was a block, and they never really got a shot off. And then there's that whole argument, do you foul, right? Up 3, do you foul to put them at the free throw line? So they didn't foul, but they did come away with the win. Not an easy one. And Mark Ziegler wrote this week in an article that the Aztecs, when they play the really good teams, their net ranking would be around 36. But because they play these mediocre teams down to their level, that's why they're at about 50. So they're not winning those games by a lot of points, and the net ranking especially loves blowouts. That's why you see San Diego is up so high. They win every game by 30 or 40 points, and that's not what the Aztecs do against those mediocre teams in the conference, Todd.
Well, you're right, and if you could figure out why, there's a spot for you on the coaching staff, because I don't think anybody can.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we can't rebound, we can't shoot free throws. The hallmark of those Fisher/Dutcher teams, I mean, obviously Dutcher has even surpassed what Steve Fisher was able to do, but a hallmark of those really good teams was, that last 5 minutes of the game when it was winning time. Boy, the Aztecs were just phenomenal at rebounding and playing defense and hitting clutch free throws at the end of games, and that has absolutely disappeared this year. I hate to say it, I think when the final draft of this season has been written, that's going to end up being our demise, is our inability to rebound and our inability to shoot free throws at the end of games. But we'll ride it as long as we can. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, you could see another Sweet 16 appearance from this group. For all we know, you could see a Thursday loss in the Mountain West Tournament. So it's kind of exciting this way. We've kind of been a shoe-in to the tournament for quite a few years now. Not complaining about that. But to go to the Vegas tournament knowing we may have to win a couple games, to secure a spot in the postseason, it's kind of exciting, I guess, if you think of it that way.
Yeah, and we've been going for many years, the two of us and some other friends. We've been going to the tournament, and the Aztecs have played on the Friday night semifinal game every year that we've been going for like 15 or 16 years, which is pretty remarkable. And it's funny you mentioned that, the 5 minute, the Aztecs are leading with 5 minutes to go. Remember that long streak was over 100 and some odd games. Well, I just read today they currently have a 17-game streak, Todd,
Wow.
where when leading at the 5-minute mark, they've won the game. And
Wow,
in
okay.
actuality, so they're actually still doing that, even though it's not like it used to be where it was automatic.
Okay. It was funny. We were watching the game, my son and I, on Saturday night, and when we hit 5 minutes, I joked. I go, hey, streak's in play, because we used to say that every time. And he kind of
Right.
laughed, but we actually had a 16-game winning streak at the time. Now it's 17, so that's good to know. That's what
Yeah.
it's one of the most underappreciated statistics in all of sports. I mean, that streak, I forget what it was, but that is a remarkable, remarkable achievement. And I think it was wasn't it in the mid hundreds, or even about 160 or 170 games in a row with 5 minutes? It's one of the more underappreciated accomplishments in our lifetimes that just kind of gets wiped under the rug, because that's remarkable to win that many games in a row.
Yeah, I wish I had looked it up. The Aztecs provide some stats before games, and they mentioned it in their press release. So that's where I found out it was 17 straight. They also said it was like, 170 out of the last. So, they've won more than they've lost, but there was that streak over 3 or 4 years that was just really remarkable. And yeah, I remember it was a big deal to the fans.
Yeah.
And when it finally ended, I know everybody was kind of bummed about it.
Oh yeah, I think it was that Trey Kell team that kind of ended a bunch of streaks. Not to put everything on him, but there was some guy. I think that they ended like 3 or 4 streaks of good stuff that one year kind of came crashing down. But let's get it going again. I'm down. 17. Let's make it 18 and keep it going.
Yeah, and one more thing about that Wyoming game. The Aztecs were out-rebounded 39-23. But there's an amazing stat that San Diego State mentioned in their press release, that Brian Dutcher teams are 3-1 when rebounding 23 or less, which is pretty remarkable for a team to not be able to pull the rebounds down, but are winning most of those games. When you see that rebound discrepancy, that generally means the teams with the most rebounds wins the game in most cases these days in college basketball.
Well, what's even more remarkable is it's been a problem all year long, and we're still, for the most part, a tournament team. Yeah, he's a miracle worker. I don't know what we did in previous lives to have Fisher come, set the program to that level, never want to leave, despite everybody. You get another coach at a mid level school, he's looking for a payday, and Dutcher seems to be the same. Just is content to stay here and live out his entire coaching, after the Michigan, live his entire adult coaching life here in San Diego, and I'll take it for sure.
Look at Utah State. They lost their coach last year to Utah, who just got canned, and now Richard Pitino, who's done a great job with New Mexico. Now there's talk that he could be in the running for the Utah opening or another opening. But you're right. Aztec fans have to appreciate the fact that Brian Dutcher wants to be here. Nobody really reaches out to him to move. I don't know, unless it was a Michigan job or maybe Minnesota, because that's where he's from. I don't know if there's a job in the nation that would get him to move. How about you?
Well, I think we had a Minnesota scare a couple of years ago, didn't we? I think that job was open, and I believe he was contacted, and it didn't work out. So, I mean, if that's not going to work out, boy, I'll tell you what, if I was one of these blue blood teams, I would make a run at Brian Dutcher, because he's that good of a coach. Just every year the team seems to get better as the season goes along. If I was one of those top blue blood programs, man, I would take a run at him. But barring something like that, a Duke coming calling or something like that, because that would be hard to turn down. We may get lucky, and he's still a young guy in coaching terms, and hopefully he's here for another 20 years. I'll take it.
And the Essex offense has gotten better. They were over 50%. I think in 3 out of their last 5 games, their offense has shot more than 50%. And you know what had a really good game? Well, B.J. Davis scored 18 points against Wyoming. Early in the season, he was red hot, scoring a bunch of points, and now he's scoring again, and that's good. But Miles Bird with 18 points. He had a 9-10 game stretch where he just wasn't playing well. I think he might have been injured, but he seems to be, coming back into his own. And the Essex really need him to score some points to make a run, both in the conference tournament and in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, B.J. Davis, I think over the last 3 games, and Mark Ziegler, I'll give him the credit for this. He had a lot of great information in his most recent article. Plus 43, I think, over the last 3 games for B.J. Davis. That's phenomenal. Miles Bird mentioned a thumb that he's been dealing with, a hip, which I hadn't heard about, that he's been dealing with. Both are on the upswing, and so is his production. So that bodes well. This is when you want everything to come together. We're in March now, baby. So get everybody healthy. Even in that same Ziegler article, the idea that Magoon Guath may return this week, which would be fantastic. So we'll take it. Things are on the upswing.
Yeah, and this is a young team this year. Next year, they could be stacked. Nick Boyd's back, Reese Waters, and Miles Bird this week was asked during a media availability about his options for next year, and we got a scoop on aztecsallin. For a matter of fact, last time I checked, Todd, more than 70,000 views on my X post from Miles Bird saying that unless he goes pro, he will not enter the transfer portal, and he will return to San Diego State. And let's take a listen on that.
Yeah, I'm ruling out the same thing. If I'm going to come back, no portal for me. If I'm coming back to college, I'm coming back to SCSU.
And so you just figure out the other stuff after.
I mean, maybe do pre-draft and stuff with my agency and see where that takes me and stuff. But, right now, all I care about is how we finish out this year and where we seed ourselves come March.
So what do you think of that, Todd? Another year of Miles Bird would not suck.
No, not at all. And if you could somehow convince Magoon Guath to come back, I'm sure the Vultures, the minute the season's over or the transfer portal opens, the Vultures are going to come circling for him. But if you could bring him back, I know the Aztecs are able to compete basketball-wise, NIL, a lot better than the football team is able to compete. I'm sure the Aztecs are going to put up a fight to keep Magoon. But if you get those guys, all those guys coming back with the young players coming back, I think we have another 7-footer, highly acclaimed recruit coming in. This team would be stacked next year for sure if we're able to keep everybody together.
Yes, sir. But there's still, this year, Aztecs have 2 games left in the regular season schedule. Tuesday night against UNLV. Aztecs have won 14 out of the last 16 at the Thomas and Mack Center, and they play well. It's like a home away from home. They're very comfortable there. And then one more game Saturday night at home against Nevada. Most people seem to think, the prognosticators, if they just win one of those games, they're pretty well into the tournament. Right now, Joe Lunardi, ESPN, has them a 10 seed. Jerry Palm, CBS Sports, has them in as a 10 seed, but there are a few that have them in as 9 seeds, and Boise State looks like it may wiggle its way in there. Lunardi has them in right now as a Final Four in. Now, he's not the greatest of the prognosticators, so, take it with a grain of salt, but Boise State, who the Aztecs beat twice, maybe they could get 4 teams in the tournament this year. What do you think?
Sure. And then 3 of them will lose.
Yeah.
Horrifically. It's what happens every year. So whatever. The Aztecs are the only one I'm concerned about. We've had 4 teams. We've had 5 teams. And then it's a bloodbath the opening weekend. So if we can get 4 teams and if they can hold up their end of the bargain and make the conference look good, I guess not that it matters to us anyway. We're out of here in another year. So, but, it's a testament to the top half of the conference. Always seems to be pretty decent. And we'll see. That tournament should be fun this year, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I will not miss the trip to Laramie. Not in the least. It must be hard to go up there. You're playing at 72-20 as it's plastered on the on the court, 7,220 feet up, and playing with barely anybody in the stands. I can't imagine it's hard to get up for the games. But you did want to mention the refs and the refs in that game calling 3 technical fouls within 30 seconds, 1 on Wyoming and then 2 in a row on San Diego State. One after B.J. Davis hit a 3, and he says he only turned to his bench to get him pumped, and he got racked up for a 3, and then Miles Bird. So you said you had wanted to mention something about the refs. So what did you want to say about that?
Yeah, some fascinating information in the Ziegler article. Apparently, when the Pac-12 dissolved, so did the Western group of referees that the 5 Western conferences all belong to. And so the West conferences, the WAC, Mountain West, I forget even the other ones, the Big West and whatnot, all had to leech on to the referee consortium that feeds the Big Ten. And they're supposed to be sending us some of their good referees to referee some of the Mountain West games, and we're getting an average ranking of 110, is because they keep these refs ranked 1 through apparently almost 400. I didn't even know that there were 400 college refs, but the guy who called those technicals and it seemed just awful, the calls. Is ranked 361st, had not reffed a Big Ten game all year, was normally a Division II ref and is ranked 361st out of how many, I'm not sure. But I don't know. That's just unacceptable to me that we get this quality of refereeing in the league. We saw what happened when Magoon went down. The previous game, they refused to stop the game. Just absolutely unacceptable. So we're going to have to get out of this. I understand when the Pac-12 reforms in a couple of years, we may be able to negotiate a better deal with a better group, a better consortium. But boy, the Mountain West is getting the crap officials, pardon my language, the cast-offs from the Big Ten, and it's been a really bad year in my eyes.
Yeah, I thought the Mountain West refs they used to have were pretty good. There's that one guy we used to call, Bill Clinton, because he looked just like Bill Clinton. We haven't seen him all season. I don't know where he's reffing, but he's certainly not reffing the Mountain West. But
remind me of the one guy that we're going to forget his name. He was literally one of the worst refs in America. The guy we used to hate. I can't think of his name now. So I guess
there are a lot of them we used to
Lucky for him, because I was about to pound him into the ground. If I could think of his name, I can't remember now.
But for Aztec fans, one last chance to watch your Aztecs here at home in Viejas Saturday night against Nevada. Of course, the show will be up and running, and our contributor, aztecsallin contributor and co-host of the audio version of our podcast, Steve Perez, got to catch up with one of the guys behind the show.
Lewis, seems like it was years ago, but actually just a few months back when we sat down with a member of the show. That's the student section of the Aztecs basketball home games. Preston McMillan, a marketing major. He's a sophomore who clued us in on how the show helps fire up the rest of the Aztec faithful, win or lose. Aztec cheerleaders, the Aztec women's dance team, taking the floor. Steve Fisher Court, Viejas Arena, band, baton twirlers, students, fans. Preston McMillan says while the show's in the student section, it's actually an embodiment of Aztec fans everywhere. The show likes to call itself the best student section in the U.S. That's sure to get an argument from schools everywhere, but that's what college sports is all about.
We love our team, we get to know our players, and the biggest part, what separates us from other schools is that it's not just the students. Every single fan here is loud, they're into the game, they go along with our routines and rituals, and that really helps us for a really good student section because it's not just the students, it's a fan base, it's the Aztecs. We are all here for the same goal, and that's to cheer on our team, and I think that's what makes it so great.
How does it actually become such an advantage for the whole team?
When you're shooting free throws and you're at Viejas Arena as a visitor, and you're shooting free throws in the second half, you have to look at fat heads of Mike Wazowski, a spinning wheel, you name it, every character you can imagine. We pass them out during the second half, so when you're shooting that game-winning free throw, you have to look at a bunch of people screaming and holding random faces.
Now for the Aztecs at home, it's a chance to fire up and feed off the crowd because, say it with me, Lewis, college basketball is a game of runs.
And I'm going to give credit to one of our players, Miles Bird. He gives us a lot of momentum. So when he goes up there and throws an alley-oop or gets a big dunk, he could have gone up with a layup, but with that dunk, it gives momentum to our crowd, which gives momentum to the players. The louder we are, the better they play.
And it wouldn't be a piece about the show unless we talked about the signature opening chant.
Welcome to Steve Fisher Court at Viejas Arena, and welcome to the show!
State, the Aztecs are 11-3 overall at home, but looking mortal in Mountain West Conference games. Interviewed Preston in late December. That was before the Utah State game, and they lost that one in a shocker, with the Aggies overcoming a big Aztecs lead. It's one of 2 conference losses at home for the Aztecs. UNLV Running Rebels, the other one. Now, some other conference games have been pretty tight and could also have gone either way, with the Aztecs being the team that needed to come from behind to capitalize on that cherished home court advantage. Now, the fans have one last chance to represent at home on Saturday, March 8th against Nevada. Back to you guys.
All right, so we love the show at San Diego State. I don't know, has it been a down year for the show this year? What do you think?
I think it's been a down decade, Todd, for the show, actually. I don't think they're nearly as good as they used to be. Remember, they used to have checklists, and they gave scripted parts to people in the stands, much like they still do at Utah State. So I think I'm glad the students still show up, because they do in big numbers. But the show itself, I don't think it's quite as showy as it used to be. But it doesn't mean that they're still not a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are a lot of fun, and it's still one of the best things about going to see a game at Viejas. Not like they were at their peak, so maybe we can get a resurgence. And by the way, Dave Hall is that horrible referee whose name I could not think of. I don't know what he's doing these days, but he's off causing havoc in some other conference, and I'm happy for that. Eric Curry is the Bill Clinton lookalike that we used to see.
Eric Curry, that's right.
Paul, another guy that was just awful. Where are the days of Moose Stubing? Remember back in the 80s, we had Moose Stubing, who was a third base coach for the California Angels, as they were called back then. And then he would ref WAC games in the off season. He was actually
you're going way back. You're going way back.
We need Moose Stubing. Is he still alive? I doubt it.
Bring back Moose Stubing. And that will do it for this edition of Aztecs-allin. We will be representing at the Mountain West Conference Tournament, so get ready for that. We'll have lots of reports from you there from Las Vegas. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. We do have an audio version of this podcast, Aztecs-allin. Louis Weiner, me, along with my co-host Steve Perez, and that you can listen to wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. But for now, please drop us a line, aztecsallin@gmail.com, if you have any questions for us, or if you want to follow us on the X, Aztecs_all_in. So from a good friend, Todd Villalobos, I am Louis Weiner. Until next time. So long as I knock the mic away.